The dominant lens in this community is the solver's lens. This conversation aims to flip it. Every prompt below is built to put you in the creator's chair. JCB or Posey or Fen or any serious hider and surface what they actually optimize for, protect and conceal even from themselves. We want to enable you to come in with formed thoughts, not just raw reactions. The goal is a sharper model of how serious creators think, so each of us reads the next clue, the next interview, the next silence with a sharper ear. Anchor question, pick a side before you arrive. Is creator fingerprint a real thing in hunt design, or are we projecting patterns onto coincidence? Craft and constraint. If you had to hide a treasure that needed to last 10 years or more, how would you guarantee it? Hold 3 constraints in tension: durability, discoverability, fairness. Name 3 things a serious creator would never do. How does a creator decide what to leave out? The clue not given, the confirmation that does not exist, the redundancy deliberately removed. The creator's mind. What outcome would the creator find most disappointing? Not solved at all, solved too quickly, solved for the wrong reason, or solved by the wrong kind of person? Is the hunt a gift, a challenge, or a statement? What does a satisfying solve look like from the creator's perspective? Not just finding the treasure, the path to it. After the hunt goes live, how much control does a creator actually have once the hunt is public? Does the hunt belong to the creator or to the community after launch? If the treasure is never found, would the creator consider it a success? Hey everybody, welcome. Today we have Cynthia that replaced Lowrents because he got abducted by aliens. Welcome all. Welcome Cynthia for joining us. It's really a great pleasure and honor to have you on.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you. So tonight we got Lowrents, we got Wick, we got Cynthia, and we got myself. This is great. And we got Kobe that is moderating chats. Thank you once again, Kobe, for doing that. So tonight we're going to get into the minds of the treasure hunters and have some questions that we're going to toss around each other. So we go around the room a little bit. Wick, do you have anything going on in your channel you want to talk about?
I put a few videos out this last week, but then I was boots on the ground yesterday, so I recorded a lot of footage. I think total between 2 sessions of going boots on the ground, I probably have like 4 hours of footage to come through. So be looking forward to that. I did have my chest knot this time, so I won't have to make people nauseous or throw up because they're watching my video for the boots on the ground. So look forward to that in a few days. But other than that, no, the main thing I got going.
Cool. How about you, Lowrents?
I was also boots on the ground this week. I was out in Wyoming and Idaho. So my editing is a lot quicker than you guys because I just put it into an Instagram reel and just mash it all up to where it doesn't make sense. I don't have to try to make it make sense like you guys.
How about you, Cynthia? What do you got going on in your world? You out looking for treasure this week, or?
No, I just got back from California where I participated in a bicycle event last weekend. So I'm taking about a 10-day break before I travel again. Unfortunately, not boots on the ground yet. That'll be the end of May. But I want to ask Wick and Lawrence, what were they looking for? What was it for the BTME box or one of the JCB boxes? Or you don't want to say? Is this a secret?
I don't know. Lowrents, is yours a secret?
Mine was Justin's. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I was looking for a TTI box. I'll say that.
Cool. So what? Oh,
that's
go ahead.
Got to be that's got to be the Forest Fen box then, right? Didn't you say you were in Wyoming? I forgot. Maybe you didn't say.
No, I live in Georgia, so.
Oh, never mind.
I didn't say where I was.
Sounds like Pokemon.
maybe. I haven't specified. We'll say that.
What part of California were you in?
No.
I was in Windsor, which is in the Sonoma Valley
Oh, okay.
area.
That's beautiful. up
Loved
there.
it.
Yeah.
It was.
I live in the Central
Yes.
Valley here, so yeah, we get up there pretty frequently.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, we also have tonight a giveaway. We're going to do a giveaway, a Grail GeoPress water bottle. So I have some instructions here, and then Kobe will let you guys know what to do. I'll have this up on the bottom of the screen for a while. We're going to use StreamYard's Pick a Winner. So, everybody just put hashtag water in the comments, and then you'll be picked later on to see if you win this great water bottle. And I'll talk a little bit about the water bottle here. It's really cool. I don't know if everybody's familiar with it. Oh, that's not it. I'm going to take my video off. Yeah, it's, I don't know if everybody has seen this or has this or not, but it's a 2-part bottle. It's got a filter in the bottom, and it filters out all virus, bacteria, protozoa, particles, chemicals, and heavy metals. So it's really good to have when you're out hiking, in case you run out of water. I know when Laura and I go hiking and stuff, I always run out of water because I'm a big guy and I sweat a lot, right? So I need to drink a lot. So instead of taking her water, of course, I'll be a gentleman and scoop up some water from a stream and filter it out, and presto, you got clean water. So we'll be giving that one away later.
Keeps him going on his hikes.
What's that?
He likes all the microbacteria to keep him going on his hikes.
Yeah, some of that stuff will make for a really short hike, and you're not going to be happy about that later on, especially if you get some of that protozoa or something in you. So look forward to seeing who wins that. So anyway, we'll kick it off. Thanks to Wick for helping out with the live stream tonight. And also Lowrents wrote the narrative for our intro. And yes, that was me doing the voiceover. It was not AI. So hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. So what I want to do is pose a couple questions to everybody, and we'll go around the room, giving everybody a chance to talk on it, and everybody can comment in the comments as well on it. But this is sort of the ethics, or not really ethics, but sort of ideas what a treasure hunt creator is posed with when they do a treasure hunt, especially of one of great value, like Posey and John Collins Black. So the first one is, is it ever okay for a treasure to never be found? And we'll start over with Wick, and we'll go down with Cynthia, and we'll go down to Lowrents.
Is it okay for a treasure to never be found? I mean,
Yeah,
that's happened,
if
right?
can it still be a success if it's not found, right?
I mean, we're kind of living through that, right? Is it the Liberty Hunt that's been out for quite some time, and there's a bunch of little trinkets or things hidden in various cities across the country, and there's still a majority of them out there, right? So yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it really depends on the hunt, the person who does the creation and like the creator of the hunt, how well they do it, and if they continue to market it and push it over the years. But if they don't, probably not. So it just really depends for me.
Yeah. How about you, Cynthia?
I have a quick question. So
Yeah.
Eric, you're the only one. You're the only one I can hear. I can't hear Wick anymore or Lawrence.
Oh.
What do I need to do? What happened?
Technical difficulties here.
I could hear them, but now
I can hear y'all.
Yeah. Let me, why don't you go, Lawrence, and I'll check with her settings on my end to see if I can hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you too. So I'm framing it in my mind from the perspective of a consciously hidden treasure hunt, not old pirate gold. That's legitimate treasure, right? Because there's quite a few. There's lots of real treasures hidden out there that just have never been found. I would think that most creators have some time frame in their mind. The big three have all kind of discussed the time frames that they've got. And if the hunts go longer than their their expected time frames, I think they would consider that to be somewhat of not successful in my mind.
Yeah. Cynthia, can you hear us yet?
I can only hear you.
Okay. Why don't you try putting your are you going through your speakers and your
Yeah.
settings on your computer? Yeah. Not sure.
Maybe just refresh or
Christy
like
just
leave
said
and come back.
something about YouTube.
Yeah. Do you have your YouTube open?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe close that, and that might help.
Let me try it.
Okay. So while she's getting that fixed, everybody put hashtag water, and the giveaway tool will be counting all those, and only one entrant per person, and it will keep everyone honest so we don't have to. It makes Kobe's job way much more easier. Yeah, so Kipro said, try stay in StreamYard. She tried texting you, so maybe she could give you a hand with that. Thanks, Kipro, for doing that. Appreciate it. While she's doing that, we'll get back to her. We're not going to forget about her, of course, because she's our guest.
That's funny. Let me see
Cynthia,
if I can fix this.
Yeah, let us know if you can hear them, and we'll get back to you on that. And you can still listen to what we're saying, and feel free to chime in anytime. So Wick, what about fairness versus difficulty? You know, the harder the hunt, is it the less fair it becomes, or is that fair game? Pardon the pun.
Before I answer that, just FYI, the chat is covering Cynthia's face. So I don't know if we want to turn it off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, that's all right. There we go. See, this is why we go live, right?
My apologies. Will you repeat the question?
Yeah. So fairness versus difficulty. The harder the hunt is, the less fair it becomes, or is it fair game for it to be super difficult?
I definitely don't think it impacts fairness. Justin himself said his hunt is hard, right? So Forrest Finn's hunt lasted for 10 years. I know obviously you can throw in like ambiguity and confusion and whether or not the blaze was something that was taken out by natural disaster, something like that. But I don't think so. I mean, I think it's fair game. Why not be hard? We are where we are now as society. We've learned a lot. We have a lot of powerful things to utilize, such as AI and other deep research type tools, just Google in general without AI. So I think difficult is fine.
Yeah. How about you, Lawrence?
Yeah, I'm reading through the chat here. Chasing rabbit holes said define fair, you know, in this context, which is a good clarification a little bit. Thinking through the events of this week, right? We've had a little bit of this. This has been active debate going on in the community this week.
Sure.
Of difficulty level of clues in the BTME cipher solution. Yeah, I mean, my opinion is on this one. Yeah, I think creators can make it as difficult as they want, right? And there's probably going to be some level of a positive correlation with the level of difficulty and the time it takes to hit milestones throughout the hunt or to find the treasure. So dialing in that, I think this is kind of related to the first question a little bit, dialing in that complexity and fair is an odd way to look at it, but dialing in the complexity for the desired length of the hunt that you want is something that has to be at the forefront of the creators' minds throughout. So I don't think making it more difficult makes it any less fair. I think there's been a lot of emotion this week from certain people that put in a lot of time on a cipher that was more difficult than they thought it was going to be, right? So I think, the recency implications of that question with what we've kind of gone through this week is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Can you hear
Cynthia, she's back. And can you hear
I
us?
am, and I can. Yes, I rebooted.
good.
So yeah, restarted.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So I'll go back to the first question since Cynthia didn't get a chance to chime into it. The first question was, is it okay for a treasure to never be found? You know, is a hunt that is never solved, can it still be a success?
Wow. I would not like to participate that, seeing that I'm almost to the age where I could be dead any minute. So, life is short. I actually the fact that I participated in Fens for 8+ years, it get for me. You know, what's really funny is because I'm older than all of you in here by a lot. So I used to think regarding the Forest Fen chase that I hope that if I'm on my deathbed, Forrest would at least whisper into my ear what state he hid his treasure in. And then what's really funny is after after it was found, and I forget if I think it was in July, Forrest finally came out and announced that it was in Wyoming. His treasure was found in Wyoming. And it's like, that's not enough. I want to know more. So for myself, because I was in it for so many years, I would hate to have Justin's go on for 8 or 10 years and I have to go through that again. I mean, I don't mind that Justin's or John's, either of them. I don't mind that they last several years because I don't want it to quit. I don't want it to end because I love it so much.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I get to the point where it's like, oh, now I can't wait for the solution, the answer, whatever. Even if it's not me, which I assume I won't find anything, but I don't care. But just the anxiousness I have already of knowing where Justin's is hidden, and not even so much where it's hidden, but in preparation of being on your show, I rewatched the Toby Eunice video. I watched X Marks the Pod, and there were 3 videos I think that I just watched that he had just done recently, and it was so interesting to go through that and hear what he says now versus early on, because especially with the Q&A and at Seeker Summit, but those answers are so brief. It's actually, Eric, the show that you did with Justin, was that in January, whatever the dates are.
Yeah.
To me, those shows are so good, and it really gets more into his head. And especially, there were so many questions regarding the process he used to create it, and how he wanted his to be different than Fens and whatever. And it got me so excited again. I'm so jealous of you two that just went boots on the ground, because I can't wait to get out and go again. I'm just so stoked about it. But at the same time, even though I don't want it to end, I would love to know what the ending is. So I probably didn't even answer your question.
No, it's good. And I wanted to follow up, since you mentioned, that you were in with Fens for 8 years. I mean, over 8 years, that's a lot. And this part really fascinates me about all the original Forest Fen treasure hunt searchers, right? Because I'm new into this. So I'm only a year and a few months into it. And the more and more I hear from people like yourself that have been active in Fens hunt, the more and more I can, my heart goes out to you, because I couldn't even imagine if this thing ended now and all of a sudden, poof, we didn't have closure to it. So that would be devastating to myself. And that was only a little bit over a year. So I can only imagine the emotions that people like yourself that were so tied to this hunt and so involved in it had to have felt when it was over. I mean, maybe if you could touch a little bit on that, then we'll get to the other questions. But, selfishly, I would really like to understand more from your perspective how that was.
Well, it was actually in 2 totally contrasting ways. It was horrible it was over, because I didn't want it to end. It was my life. I mean, I was lucky that I actually retired early on. So I was basically almost around all year long searching for the Fen treasure. So it really became my life. And of course, I was lucky because I got close to Force and I was so involved with the media and it kept me so busy. But I was so bummed out when Force announced that it had been found. I mean, it was almost like a death. I mean, I know that's really being dramatic, but it was like, oh my God, it was as bad as if a best friend just died or something. But then on the other hand, we all thought we would get, um, we all thought, I guess that Forrest would eventually give us the solution and put out the ending to give everybody closure. And then, of course, the lawsuit really messed that up a little bit. And then Forrest passed away in September. So that ended that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine that. But that's a good sort of segue into the second question that we talked about when you got off and came back on. Fairness versus difficulty. Is the harder the hunt, is it the less fair it becomes, or is it fair game? All right.
Uh,
I had to
well,
throw the pun in there, right?
um, anybody that watched me in Golden Greed, I definitely stand behind everything I said in that show. And whether it's right or wrong, what the majority believes or doesn't believe, life ain't fair.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so I think, so when I came back on, I could hear what the conversation sort of was. So I don't know if you had just talked about the recent when the cipher was
Yeah.
was solved, and then the nod to the container came out. I got a lot of people reaching out to me over that what should they do, blah blah blah. My Just for me, my bottom line is stop listening to the noise. If if you want to do Posey's treasure hunt, I mean, I'm so addicted to it, I'm not quitting.
Yeah.
um Regardless of what people said, true not true, I actually, it's like, I guess for me right now, get over, if you want to do the Posey hunt, get over it, move on, stop listening to all the drama, and get back into the guys here that are going boots on the ground. I mean, whatever. And Justin has said multiple times, I mean, there was the same kind of problem, I think it was in early January, where Justin actually had to make a statement about, you either trust the creator or find a new treasure hunt.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he reiterated that same quote recently, but that's the gist of it. And that's just my opinion. That's what works for me. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
And
keep
that's
I'm gonna keep searching.
yeah. That's a fair point, right? We all have a choice. Whether or not we want to do a hunt. There's multiple ones going on, two or three, even if you're counting Chad Birds on that are really big. And there's also a lot of other smaller ones out there too. I mean, it's to me, I mean, I know I just jumped into this game not too long ago, so I'm a spring chicken, but there's a lot of this is like a lot of treasure. It's a great time to be alive for treasure hunters, right? There's a ton of things to do. And like you said, it's addicting. I get addicted. I can't wait. I got in my countdown calendar, I got like 41 days. So I go out to the Appalachian Trail. And whether I find it or not is irrelevant because we're going to have a great time up in New England hunting for treasure. So that's going to be a really good time. So
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Eric, based on what you just said, may I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
You and I obviously have the same mindset. We are doing this because our love of adventure. This gives us an area to go to. You pick one of the boxes, whether it's JCB, Justin, Chad's, or whoever, and then that's the one you work on. And is do you think that's the difference between the people that are making the noise right now about Justin socializing, not socializing, whatever? The fact that I'm going to trust him as the creator, and it bothers me less than others. Do you think it's because people like you and I aren't going for the money? We are going for the adventure. Is that the difference? Or is that not fair?
That's a good question because, and when I speak on this, it'll be in general terms because you're going to have your outliers. You're going to have people that are in it for other reasons, and they probably aren't going to fit into my answer too well. But I think, there's people that, everybody's entitled to their opinion about it, of course. And it's hard not to get emotional when there is a big prize involved. But to your point, it is important to really focus on the why of what you're doing it for. And if yes, there are some people that things are super tight and financially, and to go boots on the ground is a big ordeal for them. That was me, not too long ago. So I can understand that part of it. But like I mentioned, and this may support my answer, when I go boots on the ground, I'm not disappointed at all when I get out there and go, man, this ain't the right spot. I went to North Carolina for my first sol for Appalachian Footpath Box. And shortly after our first hike, I was like, I don't think this is where it's at. So, no harm, no foul. It was fine. I redirected and I went back at it because what drew me to it was wanting to figure it out and getting in my next spot and then telling everybody about it. That's part of the fun for me as well. So I guess as I loop around the long version of my answer to you, possibly, and I don't want to speak for the people that are upset about it or as you said, are making noise about it. But I think if you're in your heart of hearts, if you're really going after the adventure and looking for a hunt, then to me, at least, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But I can see how it is a big deal to some people because their time is just as valuable as the money it costs to go out on boots on the ground. But again, if you want to go out and enjoy nature, I guess you don't really need a treasure hunt to do that, right? But knowing that there could possibly be something out there could be more the impetus behind going at your specific location that you're hunting. I hope, does that answer your question? Good.
Yeah, and the other thing, I don't want to minimize the people that do have limited time and limited resources financially. There's all sorts of reasons that people maybe can only do this once a year. They got one shot to go do their thing.
Yeah.
And they're still putting a lot of time in it. The money is maybe tighter than mine or whatever, and it's tough for them. And so I do understand those people being bothered and questioning that, like, should they still continue to do this or whatever? And there again, like I said before, each person's going to have to decide for themselves what works.
Yeah, I think the disappointment in coming up empty-handed in a boots on the ground, and the disappointment that we saw some people exhibit in the cipher drama this week, right? I think is probably closely paired to the relative level of investment that they have made, right? So, the amount of time that they spent on the cipher, and it seemed like it was unsolvable, and this, they had an unfair aspect to it. It's kind of one thing, and then also, again, if you're going out on your own, time away from your family, making $1,000 investment, in travel, hotels, food, etc., and that's a large investment both in time away from your family and in resources. There's probably some connection there of the level of disappointment that you feel when you come up empty-handed, as opposed to, this is an adventure I'm going on, and I'm going out one way or another, and I'm going to see something I've never seen before, and have an experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Matthew Hobbies with us. See, this is why we never know who's going to pop up in our
Totally
live streams.
surprised.
So Matthew, join. Welcome. How are you?
Hey, doing pretty well. Yourself?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you. So
Matthew.
have you caught part of our conversation here? Or is he?
I don't know if that was me. I might have frozen. I
Yeah,
apologize.
he froze
if
a
that
little
was.
bit. Well, how about
right.
you? How about you? Hang around. We're going to go on the next question, and we'll include you in on that one as well.
Hey,
So,
perfect.
Wick, luck versus skill. All treasure hunts eventually come down to luck, right? So is it boots on the ground? Is it randomness, or is there no perfect solve, or a perfect solve eliminates luck? Is the final step ever truly skill based?
I would say it depends on the hunt. You take JCB hunts, for example. We have the Forest Fen Box with the poem. We have the Appalachian Trail with the map that we see behind you. So we have defined endings, if you will, or clues to take us to the end. But if you continue with JCB, the lion's share, we don't necessarily know how that hunt even works. So therefore, we don't necessarily know how the hunt ends. And that's what I struggle with the most for his, is trying to figure out, say, the lion's share of the Pokemon, even to an extent, even though we have the cryptogram, it's still the word search. So it just really depends to me on the hunt. Justin's, he says, if we solve the entirety of the poem, it'll take us to an exact spot, although you could probably backtrack that now. He's kind of more or less said the final clue is in stanza 4, unless you interpret it like differently. It might be in stanza 5, depending on how you think about it. So to me, it just depends on the hunt, right?
Cool. How about
and if you believe the hunt creator and take them at their word, that's vital. So
yeah. So how about you, Cynthia, on luck versus skill?
Well, I'll tell you what. If I find the JCB P&F box, it's definitely luck, because the skill of figuring out the word search, despite the fact I've been doing that for a year and a half now, I just don't feel like I'm any closer than I was last fall. But that's not going to make me quit. I will keep working on it. But so now, because we're talking JCB and I was preparing for this show, I just read something that there was just I think a podcast that was just released. It was made in 2022. The guy that interviews JCB, that guy.
Yeah, Dave Clona.
Yeah, him. So I think he's the one that it was just a real short clip I have, but JCB basically said he wanted to create a treasure hunt where everything to solve it is in the book. He wanted to write the book or hide it, write the book and walk away and never be heard of again. And so I do believe that regarding the P&F box, which is the only one I'm really, really familiar with it. I do believe, John, that if you can figure out the word search, you can find that box. And I like that.
Yeah, I have to agree with that strongly. I do enjoy that part of John. I remember that interview. I listened to American Treasure podcast and Dave's podcast a lot. They're really enjoyable to listen to. But when he says that, he just wanted to keep everything in this book, and here it is to figure it out, that gives me hope. And as much as I think I'm as tied as close as the Appalachian Footpath box as you are with the Past and Future box. And I think a great deal of luck is going to come into play if I were to ever to be able to find that. So I do agree with you on that wholeheartedly. Lawrence, how about you? Luck versus skill. I know you're a skillful man on the Pokemon.
That John Wayne quote: "Life's really hard, but it's even harder when you're stupid." It's
I love it
with treasure hunting. I think skill comes into play a ton, and depending on the style of the hunt, for sure. The methods in which you are able to restrict the range of your areas of consideration, right? I think the more thought you can put into that, the more of a scientific method you put into that, I think you set yourself up for success. That being said, there is probably somebody somewhere that has the right location bias, the right confirmation bias, that was one of these treasures is hidden in a place that they visited when they were a kid, and it just so happens to be the only place in their mind, and that's where they're focused. There's probably that chance that's going to work out with the 5 JCB boxes, Chad Bird's, Justin's. There's probably a non-zero chance that somebody's going to get relatively lucky and at least have the right starting point by luck and have a leg up on everybody just because of that.
Yeah, because he says, somebody's been within 100 to 200 feet of 2 of the boxes. Yeah, I believe it was a Pokemon one in the Appalachian Footpath box. So, if that person even knows it was them going towards there, right? I mean, we don't even know who that is. And if you're that close, I'd say luck has got a pretty big factor there in finding it. Matthew, what about you? What are your thoughts on luck versus skill?
Yeah, I mean, adding to pretty much what everyone else was saying, I feel like there is a dependency on what kind of puzzle it is. And I think since we haven't found any of JCB's boxes, that one specifically, time will tell. I personally think there's skill in trying to find the location area, but then there's going to take a lot of luck to do there, especially if he said 200 feet, 100 feet, but finding an object in there, you're going to have to get lucky if that's as close as you can get. I'm hoping and assuming there's going to be something that'll get you even closer, or a path or something. But I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of really good areas so far, but the actual boots on the ground, what are you supposed to do element, or even what are we looking for element, is going to take luck at least the first couple times. And maybe once in 2 boxes, as he said, it'll become easier. But that's me. So, I mean, a blend of both. But right now, I think there's going to be a good amount of luck. And then, of course, that determination, too, of you go someplace, likely won't find it. Is it right or wrong? Do you continue? Do you find a new spot? Which, we'll have to see once we know a little more.
Yeah, it's a good point. If anybody wants to chime in on this one, I mean, when do you know to give up your spot and just try somewhere else? Because, I know when I go out on a trail, there's certain things that I need to confirm with myself. Is this, I didn't find it this time out. Do I rebook a trip again to go out there and check, or do I, scrap my idea and go back to the drawing board and try a new location? Anybody want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I'll talk to that because I'm an experienced person of probably a couple hundred boots on the grounds over the Fen years, the Posey chest and the JCB one. I have a lot of experience of not finding anything other than a good time and the adventure. So depending on how good my solution was to start with, it might be easier to scrap it. But my problem right now with Justin, with BTME, is I have such bad confirmation bias on my general area. And everyone knows I'm in the Pioneer Mountains. So it is so hard for me to leave that area. Now, can I refine her foot of 3? Yes. And then when I go the next time, it's like, okay, now instead of looking the 20 degrees this way, maybe I should have gone the 20 degrees when I return her face the other way. So I will play around with the solution a bit, but it's really hard for me to give up that area, that general area.
Yeah, so your general area is going to be the same, but you're just sort of redirecting that. That makes sense. That's a good one. Thank you, Treasure Hunt with us, for the $20 super chat. That's very gracious of you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey,
So
sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
We have a few questions that
Sure.
are from viewers. I don't want to wait like too long. So
yeah.
people-
Why don't you grab those, Wick?
I did. So I put stars on them. I like the idea of Kobe putting the QQQ or question in front of the question itself. So that's very nice. Thank you, Kobe. The first question is technically from Daniel. Do you think the JCB boxes are actual containers or proxy tokens or treasures, I assume? I think they're actual boxes. Otherwise, why show them, right? That's just my opinion.
What was the question again?
Do you think the JCB boxes are actual containers or proxy tokens? Like proxy.
Oh, they're actual containers. He had said that they're out now. They're in a protected container, right? Because these boxes are very susceptible to the elements.
Right.
But he's made that clear in multiple times. I believe that they're out there. There's no proxies. Actually, he said it at TreasureCon. I think he said in the Q&A where he said that.
I agree. Chasing rabbit holes. How much does the price pot influence fairness? Are some creators held to a higher standard?
It's a good question. So is it, are creators held to a higher standard because they have a multi-million-dollar treasure? I believe that's the question that's being asked.
There we go. I guess that's better.
Yeah. How much does the price pot influence fairness? Are some creators higher? I think. I mean, I would personally. I may comment, and anybody else could chime in. But I think any hunt should be held to the same ethical standard. If you're going to, have people go out and search, and even if it's free, your time's not free, right? I just came from a job that I was only had X amount of time off where I can go hunt for treasure, where that was more important than how much it cost me to get there. So I think everybody, regardless of the size of the treasure, should be an ethical, held to the same, code of ethics, so to speak. Anybody else want to chime in on that? No? Okay.
I
what's
think
another-
the community. I was just going to say, so the second part of the question, are some creators held to a higher standard? I think that question is, we, the treasure hunting community, are we holding Justin and JCB and Chad to a higher standard than we would, let's just say the little treasure hunt that just took place in Las Vegas on Saturday. That was, I think it's worth $1,000 and it was in downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, as a treasure hunter, had there been a rumor that she had dinner the night before with a group of searchers, and is there a question she gave them clues? I wouldn't give a rat's butt if she did. It's $1,000. But when you're talking JCB and Justin, and I really shouldn't speak about Chad's because I don't do it, so I don't know it. But regarding the other ones that I am involved with, hell yeah, I think we as searchers hold them to a higher standard. Is it fair? I like what you said, Eric. We should, the standard should be the same for all, but I don't know that it is.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Wick, did you have any other starred questions? And that's great.
Right.
We could bring in questions in between. That's what we have the live stream for, right?
Yeah, I agree. We'll just keep going, and I'll just remove stars, and we'll kind of update to do a Q&A, if you will, every like 20 or 30 minutes. So I'd say we keep going on the agenda, if you will.
Okay.
We'll circle back to the questions.
Yeah, Wick, thank you for moderating those questions. I appreciate that.
Thinking about that last one a little bit more, it's interesting. It's really interesting the level of interaction that the creators have chosen to have with the communities and the corresponding drama levels also, right? Or perception of fairness. JCB, to Cynthia's point earlier, wrote the book and then walked away. And I think probably would have preferred to not do any interviews. And nobody knows if he's having dinner with people. Nobody has a clue, right? Because he has zero interactions. We have no idea if his family is participating, any of the, potential ethical boundaries. But what's interesting is Chad is overly active with his community, and there's also, I haven't sensed any perceptions of unfairness in that hunt. So as I'm talking through it out loud, maybe there isn't a relationship there with the level of interaction in the community.
Well, I have a follow-up to that, Lawrence. I remember John saying in one of his interviews with Dave Colonna on American Treasure Podcast that when asked if his siblings or a family member could participate in his hunt, I think, and I'm going to paraphrase this, and I hope I don't butcher this up because this is a while ago that I listened to it. But he said he remembered reading on the back of a cereal box when he was younger that in the sweepstakes to enter, people that are related to people that work there or whatever cannot participate. And he didn't like that. So he had said that, well, sure, if one of my family members want to go out there and find it, they can do so. Because nobody, he's the only one that knows where he hid the treasure at. Lawrence, what do you think about family members of John going out searching? Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it comes back to the trust level, right? I mean, if we are choosing to invest our time and effort and resources into these, these great experiences, I'm trusting that he's not giving away clues or have given an advantage to his family members and wasting my time, right, and effort. So yeah, I think it comes back to just you have to have that basic level of trust, and if you don't, you shouldn't do the hunt if you can't trust that there is a treasure out there, that it's a level playing field.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Before, that's a decision that an individual is going to have to make, whether or not they choose to trust the treasure hunter. I mean, I'm sure we all countless have come across different comments here or there, and I won't give any attention to them, but whether or not these hunts are even real, I mean, if you can't answer that yourself, then you really shouldn't be on that searching for that hunt, right? Because ultimately it's going to boil down to what you feel is right or not, and whether or not that's right for you. So my next one is ambiguity good or bad? Is ambiguity good or bad design? Is it I don't know. Wick, you want to start off on that one?
I guess we wouldn't classify metaphors as ambiguous, right? Two distinctly different things. Or overly metaphoric, would that qualify? I mean, what do we?
That enters into the conversation, right? I guess maybe to what extent of ambiguity is okay? When does it become, not even a clue if it's so nebulous?
Right. I mean, I would say like 60% good clues, 40% ambiguity would be fair. Because I mean, just to your point, everyone's going to interpret a metaphor differently, and not to bring up Justin to this, but he's said himself that he's overly metaphoric. If it wasn't for Matt DeMoss, his book would have been too metaphoric, and probably his treasure hunt as well. So he's the most obvious example when it comes to metaphors in my mind. So again, no slide on Justin, just the one that comes to my mind the most. But I mean, metaphors, double meanings, homophones, I think they're all in the same classification to me. I think that's part of it. I think it's a fun aspect. I think it's part of solving something a little deeper, or trying to think outside the box and expand your mind and your horizons. I don't have a problem with it as long as it's more legitimate clues than ambiguous to me.
How about you, Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean, while Wick was talking, I was thinking back to one of Cynthia's comments about the pioneers and just giving up on a location. I think the ambiguity is something that makes it so hard to give up on a location, because you solve all the attributes of the puzzle down to a location. You go search and it's not there. Well, then you have all these other lenses. Well, what if the foot of three isn't a mountain? what if it's, you know, something else? Well, then that it's like you shook up everything and you're letting everything resettle and thinking about it from a different standpoint. So I think the ambiguity really anchors me to, you know, the place that I've been back to 7 times now. You know, it's okay. Well, that particular solution didn't work out either. Now, all right, now let's go think about a different way that, you know, cast your pole could be interpreted, right?
What about Cynthia? How about you? Ambiguity, a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I hate it because I can't figure it out, to be honest. No, I don't hate it. I mean,
That's the best answer yet.
So right now, so we have I'm going to only talk BTME for this answer. So first, the technical clue was solved and explained, and I thought, Jesus, whatever. There's no way in heck I am smart enough to solve Justin's poem, because that was like so beyond me. I mean, once it was explained, I could understand it, but I never ever would have figured it out. Okay, now we just get to the cipher, and it turns out to be a clock cipher or whatever they called it. And then it was like, oh man, that was really clever. I almost wish that I would have spent more time on it. But then on the other hand, so many of us had already guessed it was going to be a nod to Tucker. So, and I guess whether it was going to be right or wrong, I mean, I just stopped even working on the cipher, because it's like, well, I think I don't know what the solution to the cipher is. I don't know how to solve it, but I still think the answer is going to be a nod to Tucker. So, and then in hindsight, of course, once it came out what it was, and all the explanations of it, it was like, oh, that was really clever, and I really did like it. And it's like, okay, maybe I could have figured that one out. So then back to the actual poem, how hard is it going to be? I just don't know. But one of the other things that after we get done talking about this, you know, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was how Justin loves puzzles and riddles. And it just seems to me that the solution to the poem by way of the book, it's going to be something that's so clever. And then when we actually hear it, it was going to be, oh my God, that is so clever. Why didn't I think of that? I think it will be something like that. And I guess that's where my head is. So regarding the ambiguity, it's like, yeah, it is, but only if you don't know what the answer is. And he actually, in the introduction to the book, I think he called it the fact that he wrote a book of riddles. I'm looking at my notes right now. So, and because I know Justin a little bit, he loves riddles. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I look at it the same way with JCB on his. He's, you know, a lot of his. I look at his book as more gamified, if you will, and which makes it even harder for me, because the only game I'm really comfortable with is Yahtzee that my wife plays, and wife and I play every day after we log off of our work. So if it's harder than Yahtzee to me, it's going to be a challenge. But but I know, or I have a strong feeling, once they've been solved and we hear the solution to it, I'm going to knock my head against the wall a couple times, hopefully with a pillow in between, because why didn't I think of that type thing, right? It's going to be out there, but it'll be fun to learn how he did that. Matthew, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think ambiguity is required for puzzles and things. Whether or not it's good or more is better, I think there is a balance between the two. Speaking on like TTI, I feel there's a lot of different types of puzzles already in it, and so it's nice to be able to pick and choose. I just, in my head, I'm trying to like think of which one I think is the least, well, like, and like the most, I don't know. I would almost say the map is the most clear, but also it's not. 3 ways to solve, don't know what to do with all the images and all that. I mean, maybe even the past and future would be a little bit more so in those. And then Lion Share has to be the most ambiguous of what are we supposed to do? Like we
Yeah.
maybe have a map that we have to make. There's maybe 7 steps if the puzzle box is also what the puzzle you're supposed to do. But other than that, it's just kind of like find it and use things, which to me is interesting. And I think that comes from the being able to be given a riddle or a puzzle and trying to solve it. Now, the big question is, will it actually make sense at the end? And it probably will with the solution, but like, how many paths can you take that make sense that aren't correct? So I think that's where the balance comes in place. So I don't know. I'm a fan of a little bit, but I think it's also a requirement. So it'd be tough to make the decision.
Yeah, that's how I feel on the lion's share. It's we just went through the whole part 1 and a couple items in part 2, and we started going through the pictures and stuff, and of course the past couple weeks we've been a little slow on it because of our me switching jobs and getting ready to sell my house and stuff. But yeah, ambiguity is a common thing around here with the lion's share stuff. Real quick, I want to just pause just to show our giveaway thing we're going to be giving away. This is our Grail water purifier bottle, and it's cool. It's the only one I've seen out there that does remove viruses and bacteria and protozoa, where most of them are just particulates, chemicals, and heavy metals. So anyway, I just thought I'd put it up there. And you know how to enter. Just it's on the ticker. So anybody else want to add to what Matt had said, or a final shout out to the ambiguity question? If not, I know Cynthia, you said you had some notes and you wanted to get to. Why don't we talk about that? What you wanted to bring up?
Well, it's actually not so much that I want to bring it up. But when you and I were first chatting back and forth, messaging each other, and we talked about how it is important to get to know the creator. It seems, well, maybe not so much JCB, because he basically wrote a book and walked away. But regarding Finn, it was important, really important to know the creator. With Justin, I think he's even said he wrote the book, so searchers could get to know the creator. And the fact, I just recently did say something about the fact that one of the things that people, in my opinion, they need to consider and think about is the fact that Justin loves riddles, and he actually said that he wrote BTM Me is a book of riddles. And one of the things that I will share. So Justin and I have known each other for a lot of years, but before he did this treasure hunt. And not like Tyler. I've known Justin since 2020, early 2020, so over 6 years. So one of the things that he used to do with me is, like, if I'd be in West Yellowstone at my lodge and he had left Polaris or wherever in Montana, and he was coming to West to meet me, and I'd say, okay, where are you? Meaning, how long is it going to take you to get here? And he wouldn't just simply say where he was. He would give me a riddle that I would have to Google. It wasn't really a riddle. It was pretty simple. But with Justin, it's like he likes games. He doesn't want to make stuff too easy by just giving you an answer. So one of the examples I can use is, one of his things was, I think I have this right. It's a place. It had to do with fly rods, and of course I had to Google it, and then there were all sorts of different makes, and models and whatever, and then took that and then had to look at Google Maps to see where he might be, and the answer was Winston. And I'm not saying everyone should now quickly drive to Winston, Montana, and I can't remember if he was coming from Polaris to West Yellowstone or Helena. So I don't remember anymore, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, so the answer was Winston. And so Justin's almost like a big kid. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. And I talked about before. I did a video about like Justin Posey behind the scenes and the making of Netflix or whatever. And I talked about how, and I even have my roaches here, how Justin would put roaches down inside stuff that he knew I was going to put my hand in. So he was a prankster. He was such a fun guy to be around, and he was. So basically he's young enough to be my son. I believe he and his mom and I are the same age. So maybe I was so amused by it, and I was never afraid of anything he did, but I was amused by it, and I found him so much fun to be around because he was like an adult kid, and really did have a sense of humor, sometimes in a really sick way. But I just I don't know if that helps anybody understand him. And you don't need to hear me saying it. You can go back through some of his interviews and you can basically get that tone of what he was. And even just reading his stories in BTME, I hope that is a take that people understand. I don't know if that helps you solve anything or not, but he's different, in my opinion, in a good way. And he is a genius, which makes it even harder to figure out maybe some of the poem or whatever. But he also just has this incredible sense of humor and fun loving, like I said, loving the riddles, and just not making it super easy where he's just going to hand you an answer. You got to work for it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And, it is good to know some of those things. I think it helps. That's why I like listening to like American Treasure podcast. I know John's not going to go on there and give away what where he hid his boxes or anything, but just listening to and getting to know the creator a little better, not necessarily, digging for clues or anything like that, but just understanding the person. That's sort of how, Laura and I do our interviews when we had John and Justin on. It wasn't a shotgun approach, not saying that that's not an acceptable approach. That's just not our approach to it. And the reason why, because to me, it's more important understanding, the person, that created the hunt rather than specific clues. Because, when you have somebody like that on, their intent isn't going to be giving you things they don't want you to know. And it really becomes a game of how crafty can you get at trying to stump the creator, right? So to speak. But when you start having a conversation and seeing, getting to know the person, to me, that adds a little more value to approaching the hunt than getting specific clues that you're looking for to, try to figure out if you're correct or on the right path or not,
Yeah. So back to me, wanting everyone to know that Justin liked puzzles and riddles. So one of the first things that came out after Golden Greed came out and he launched the treasure hunt, Mysterious Writings did the 6 questions with Justin, and it was in April of 2025. So very, very new, The question was, how or when will a searcher know they have the correct meaning to a clue? Okay, so this is at the very beginning of his treasure hunt, right? And his answer was, as an engineer by training, I approach puzzles with the same meticulous precision I once applied to arranging the condiments in my refrigerator, alphabetically, then by expiration date, then by personal preference. So right there, I mean, is that just his answer right there? Is that a riddle? I don't know.
Yeah, anybody want to chime in on that one?
And anybody can go find this. Go to Mysterious Writings. I think it's Jenny Kyle's 6 questions with Justin, April last year.
Yeah, she's got a great. I love her 6 questions. I did a reverse 6 questions with her, but I find those lot of value in those with all the treasure hunt creators. She does ask really good, pointed questions on there. Lawrence, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I mean that was an interesting one, and I think everybody that read that, Cynthia was kind of asking the same questions. Should we be reading a little bit more into this? Is that a filter that we should be applying, to how we're approaching different clues throughout the poem? Should we be arranging things alphabetically and then by order of his likes? When I arrange condiments in my fridge, it's by which one I use most. It's right there in the front, and the horseradish is way in the back, regardless of what letter it starts with, right? It's an interesting one. So I don't have a lot of anything meaningful to add there, Eric.
Yeah.
I think somebody actually tried that, right? I want to say Jules, like 5555, came up with one of the first cipher solves using that method way back when, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the cipher outcome, if you will, but I remember that was used and it was like a legitimate and accepted somewhat answer. So who knows? It's hard to tell with Justin. It seems like everything he does could be a clue or a riddle.
Yeah. Hey, Wick, I think Kobe's saying we have a backlog of some starred questions there.
Yeah, we got 5. A fun one for you, Eric. Where did it go? Will the Bears move to Indiana? Chicago Bears. For anyone who doesn't know, that's sports ball.
I could not care less if they move to Indiana or not, because soon I won't be in Indiana.
True.
But I will chime in on Indiana's got more things to worry about than bringing the Bears into Hammond, Indiana. Hammond's got a bunch of other things they need to figure out, in my own personal opinion. It's bad enough you can't drive through Hammond without getting stuck by a train for about 15 minutes every quarter mile or so. So good luck with that is what I got to say to the Bears coming to Indiana. And Indiana already has a football team. We have the Colts, albeit it's down in Indianapolis, or Southern Indiana, as our Northwest Indiana people call it. Right? But that's my take on it.
All right, a quick question to Lowrents and Matt. Did either of y'all do the forest fin hunt? Were you involved in? I don't think you did, Lawrence, right?
I did not. I think I had said this a couple weeks ago. I found an old computer lying around, and I was looking through the pictures on it, and I found from 2012 or 2013 the forest fin map as an image on that old computer. So I had looked at it once upon a time, but that was not a time in my life that I could. I had young kids. I didn't have time. Yeah.
Matt, did you do the forest fin hunt? Thrill the chase?
No, I did not do the forest fen. I did some on the secret, and then like the tribute hunt to that, but that was, I think, after that forest fen was already solved.
Okay, so with that in mind, this is now a question for Cynthia. For those who did the forest fin hunt, how much does Beyond the Map's Edge feel like an extension of the Thrill of the Chase to you, Cynthia? I'll show it.
Yeah, well, it feels like, I don't know if I'd call it an extension, maybe only slightly, because the area for both hunts are in the same Rocky Mountain states. I mean, Fenn's he started with 5 of them, and then he got rid of Idaho. So basically, Fenn's narrowed down to 4 states, and Justin's is somewhat bigger, a little bit bigger than that. So I guess in that way, for me, it could be an extension. I mean, if I got sick of searching Southwest Montana, maybe I'd go search in Wyoming, which is a Fenn state. And I'm somewhat familiar with some of the area. Other than that, no, I don't feel that it is too much, just because they're so different.
I've got a question that the group participating here might appreciate for Cynthia. How broadly outside of the capital R, capital M, Rocky Mountains do you think Justin searched for Fenn's treasure?
He has it on his website, the very original. If you go by what he said, he talks about searching from all the way. I mean, Justin in Golden Green, I believe, states how he searched all the Fenn states plus Idaho before Fenn eliminated Idaho. And I believe he says he searched all the way from Ojo Caliente in New Mexico, all the way like what, up through Glacier National Park or something like that. So basically, if you go to Justin's website, he talks about the search area he searched. And that's about all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah.
Hey, Cynthia, I had a question for you. Now, since we're talking about Forest Fenn, you were originally searching in New Mexico, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Whereabouts in New Mexico were you searching, if you don't mind me asking?
Between Santa Fe and the Colorado border, almost everything that was in the
Almost
mountainous
everything between.
areas.
Yeah, I'm currently working on John's Forest Fenn, trying to figure out, very loose terms, where and something keeps drawing me to that area, and there's a few places there that I have an interest, that I have a couple of things that are lining up, at least in my thought process of how the poem's written. And I was just curious if you've pretty much extensively. I'll have to pick your brain later on that.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, I really did believe from the beginning that when Fenn said begin at where warm water halts. I mean, for me, that meant a hot spring, but you realize there are hot springs in every state, and
Yeah.
more than one. So I mean, so I always started with a hot spring in a canyon, and then I mean, they were to necessary topographic features or features that had to exist in the area to go there. So I don't know, Eric, that I could be of much help. I mean, you realize I didn't find anything, right?
Well, you didn't find anything with the original one.
He's got reasons why he's asking.
I have reasons why.
You're
Yeah,
just not
and regarding John JCB's Forest Fenn box and the fact that he said the location where he hid his box was a place he searched for fens, correct? And
Yes,
so,
That's
but
correct.
so what makes that so hard though is, what did John think Warm Waters Halt was? I mean,
Perfect segue.
it's not what Fenn. It's not that it has to be the correct answer. It's what
Correct.
John thought. So to me, it's tough. That's a tough box to find.
That's actually one of our questions in the chat. Perfect segue. But they're specifically asking about something he said at the Q&A in Vegas, and I don't recall that. Can anyone else chime in or have some context for that? I assume when they're saying at the the Vegas Q&A, TreasureCon. Is K-Pro still in here?
Yeah, well, he said he had an idea where Warm Waters Halt was. To Cynthia's point, he knows where it's at, or he has the idea in his head. Because the question was, and again, I'm going to paraphrase this. I think Kimberly said, John, it's sort of ambiguous. There's warm waters could be anywhere. He goes, well, was forest ambiguous? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, mine is too then. And that got me thinking of, well, yes, John is referencing, where he thought was warm waters halt, but maybe that's not how he put it in his poem. I'm looking at the poem, and I'm going to try to not butcher this up by explaining it. Is that he's using his own sort of wordplay of what that means. Like he's maybe not literally referencing it in his way of wording the poem. Like you would have to figure out what that means, more like a riddle or something to that effect, where something could mean warm water or cool water flows. I'm looking at an area that, and I think I said this on a last live stream, somewhere on, I think it's State Road 63 or Route 63 or whatever the road is called. Because what I have is where cool water flows sort of matches up where that could be, what it could mean. It's not necessarily a cool water area where he's talking about in the poem. I know I'm confusing everybody right now, so I won't go too much further on that. But that's sort of how I'm putting it together. And so far I had like, and it could be just totally coincidental, things that are matching up. That's why I'm sort of digging into this one area, and that's why I had asked you, Cynthia, about New Mexico. So anyway,
all right, two more questions, and if you put QQQ before the question, it makes it a little easier to see it. And I'm actually putting a star on the question, which helps us kind of set them aside. Just FYI, Kobe and others on the panel. Next question, I'll share it or show it. Should someone's hypothesis be called a solve if it leads to the wrong area? I'll say no. I always think those are theories until that one person solves it and finds it. That's my take on that. But panel question, solve versus theory, whatever.
Yeah, I always took the word solve as just what you thought it was. I didn't think it was it's actually solved. You know, I don't know what's everybody else's thoughts on that.
Such a weird word. Can I just say that? It's such a weird word. No, I want to know the origin of that when it entered the treasure hunting community.
It was Forrest Fenn that came up with it. He's the first one that started calling. He made solve into a noun. He changed it from a verb to a noun by starting to say, or you're solved. Tell me. I mean, the people lucky enough to get to meet Fenn, that would be one of the first things he'd ask them. Tell me your solve. Where is your solve? So Fenn created, he butchered the word.
Yeah, because it always comes up in spell check for me when I'm writing down.
I didn't realize that about Fenn. Any other thoughts on that, Eric? Oh, you already gave yours.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it is just, it could be used either way because it's not how you're supposed to use it. I mean, I feel like there's probably better ways to say it, like potential solve or a potential solution, or I mean, just say hypothesis. You'll not get more people, because when you're just like, here's the solve, it's like, well, it's not the solve, it's your solve or your idea. But I don't know. I feel like maybe I've used solve before. I don't think I would until there's actually a solve. So I probably never will. At least myself. I won't be the one. But yeah, I think this is also, I had like 40-ish minutes, so I probably need to bounce. Like,
yeah, no problem. You could, anybody,
so,
yeah.
And I was going to say last call for if there's anything that someone wants to say to me. Or say it behind my back where I leave.
and if anybody is curious, the whole moving forward with these live streams, what I've done is select, this is for and in this list will grow, but I'm giving people links to this live stream. So this one and future live streams, if they ever wanted to pop in and out, they're more than welcome. They have a seat on the live stream table here. I think it adds some value to our conversations because I tried this with a pre-record on a round table, and I thought it worked pretty well because we get a varying degree of ideas and opinions on topics. And having it live allows what normally on a pre-record would be comments, and this gives a chance for people to get their comments responded to in real time. So I appreciate everybody that's been coming on, and if anybody does have a time constraint, I should have asked before. My apologies for that, but it's quite all right if you have to leave. So Matt, thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you, Matt.
It was good hearing and talking with you all, and thank you for Eric for putting this on and just kind of having it open. It's a cool format. So have a good evening and discussion. Until next time. Yeah,
take it easy, Matt.
Yeah, bye now.
All right, last question for this Q&A session, if you will. We'll get to the questions that have been popped in the chat in the next one. So keep those questions coming, and I guess if need be, we can save some for the next stream, if you will. But regardless, clarification on the proxy token question. The proxy token would theoretically lead to a secure locker. The clue for gem lockers is mentioned in the book.
Is this TTI or?
Yeah, it's TTI. I'm pretty sure because that's what it was before. Yeah, I think he specifically mentioned JCB and assuming he or she.
Yeah, I think I mean, I'll chime in. My answer is always been this isn't a proxy hunt. This is actual treasure. He's said it multiple times on multiple platforms, and also in his book that a treasure is in fact hidden there, and there's only a couple items that weren't physically able to be fit in the treasure container that he does have, but by no means, and I think he specifically called this out, that he purposely holding these back as a proxy rather than, it just couldn't fit into the treasure box.
I agree. I guess real quick, Cynthia, are you sticking around for a while? At least another 30 minutes or more? Okay, so we'll keep that question for later.
I have until Wednesday. That's like what, 3
Perfect.
days?
That works.
Yeah.
I love it.
We'll go at least until Wednesday for sure.
I don't know if the questions keep going and Kobe keeps the chats going, we'll go until Wednesday.
Oops, sorry, inadvertently showed a question there. I've started. So yeah, again, I'm putting a star in the questions. You guys keep asking them. We'll keep setting them aside for the next round, if you will.
Great. Okay, so I have another question. Is in your guys' opinion, is a treasure hunt art or a game? Treasure hunts are closer to art than competition, or is it more of art meaning expressions, meanings, or legacy, or a game? Is it all about the rules, fairness, and winners? Wick, sorry. I'm looking at you like I'm.
Are you looking that way? Right.
Yeah, sorry.
I hate to kind of give the same answers before, but I think it's creator related, right? With Justin, I think most people would say it's art, or mention how smart he is, how much of a genius he is, how deep and difficult his hunts are. So I think that would be an art. With JCB though, since he inputs so many games into his hunts, we could say it's more gamified, right? Not that JCB's is any more or less of an artistic flair, if you will, but I think since that's kind of a focal point in his hunts and in his solves, we would say it's gamified. But generally speaking, I think it's more of an art. I mean, I can't imagine having to go through the mental fortitude of coming up with not only how to hide a bunch of clues on whatever way you're doing it, whether it's Netflix or a book or poem or whatever it might be, but also executing it in a way that, I guess, in the current day, since it's a thing, that AI can't easily go solve it, or that somebody can't solve it in like a month, but you also don't want it to last for 15, 20, 30 years. It just seems like an astronomically difficult task to create a large scale treasure hunt these days. So I commend him, and I think it's an art form to me.
Okay, Lawrence, how about you?
Yeah, I don't know if they're mutually exclusive, and I probably have to look up the definition of art. In my mind, it's probably something that gives you an experience, makes you feel emotion, something that has some, form of a legacy, to the creator. So I think it probably fits. All three of those, the major hunts that are out there right now, probably fit that definition I just made up. It's giving us, an experience. It's making us feel things deeply, clearly. You look at the emotions this week. These are experiences that people are having. So yeah, I think there's definitely game elements. I don't think you can make a treasure hunt without that. But can a treasure hunt be art? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Cynthia, do you have anything to chime on that?
Yeah, Eric, it was actually in your interview with Justin, whenever you did that not too long ago. And you actually, you and Justin were talking about treasure hunting and the feeling that it gives you when you're when you were the hunter. And Justin actually talked about working a decade or whatever at Disney World. And he said a core part of that was crafting an experience. I'm reading this. I don't have it memorized.
No, that's all right.
He said a core part of that was crafting an experience, a story. He said anyone can make a ride, but to create an environment that surrounds that ride, that tells us a story, that is the key to what he considered the Walt Disney Company's success. And then he goes on to say regarding his, And so I wanted to have that feeling about the treasure hunt where it's not just you go and get it, like there's something more to it. So I think in Justin's case, it's art with embedded riddles, puzzles, whatever in it. And then and regarding JCB, I only know enough to talk about the P&F box, and for me, that's like, oh, that's a freeing game. I mean, I'm sure there's art.
Yeah.
Maybe the art's embedded in the game, and the other, and with Justin's, it's the other way around. The game is embedded in the art.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And that comment does now that you thank you for refreshing my memory on that, because that did stick with me shortly after that, you know, his experience with Disney, you know, he wants to make this an experience. And you know, I really appreciated that part of the hunt. It's not just all technical, it's not just all ciphers, it's not just all puzzles, you know, it's the whole ride, so to speak, as you go on to that. I did want to ask you though, Cynthia, about, I know Wicked brought up AI, the use of AI. What role does AI play in your treasure hunting experience? Are you somebody that embraces it or somebody that just pushes it away, or you're sort of in between on that?
Oh no, I'm too old to use it, so I basically don't give a crap. You all can use it, and you know what? So one of the things regarding Forrest Fenn and the fact that I used to actually refer to his hunt as a game, and it's his game, and there are no rules, and it was his game. Regarding the current one, I think Justin has created, like he just said, an experience. It's not just about going out and picking up the treasure chest. I think he has really created something that's going to be more than just the typical treasure hunt. But I don't know what that is.
Yeah, the reason why I brought it up, because I know somebody had brought up when I had my intro going on, they said, "Hey, is it an AI, Eric?" And I was like, "I'm the same as you. I use AI for you know, wordsmithing things at work or whatever, stuff like that. But as far as it pertains to the hunt, I don't. I prefer to try to solve it on my own and think how a person thinks, not necessarily how a you know, a software thinks, you know, as it's learning different things. But
yeah, and I just want to say I'm not criticizing anyone that's using AI. My point with Fen was, I said there are no rules, so it's a treasure hunt. It's brutal, guys. I mean, I was in the Fen hunt for a lot of years, like I said, and it's a brutal group of people, and I can see some of that when I read the comments.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah,
it ain't nothing new. It's the same people giving me the same shit. So, like, whatever.
No worries.
Yeah, I don't mind what, you know, I wasn't also necessarily saying it's a bad thing, but just a personal preference on that. But excuse me, and get a drink here. My mouth's getting dry.
While you do that, Eric, quick question. I think Kobe has a good thought. Do we want to put a time on the giveaway or just keep it till the end?
Well, why don't we pause here and we'll just do the giveaway? So if anybody hasn't gone into there, I'm sorry.
Let's give people 2 more minutes. Let's do it at 10:30.
Okay, great. Yeah. And so I'll talk a little bit about it then. Again, it's the Grail. Go ahead.
Show it if you will.
Show it. Yeah. So we have the Grail water bottle. I have this myself. I think it's wonderful. They make them in metal as well, but they're like double the price. I personally like lightweight, and it's BPA free plastic. And this thing gets rid of everything. It gets rid of the virus, the bacteria, the protozoa. I mean, this is the stuff that will turn your hike into a very nasty rest of your day / evening when you head back to camp.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
How dirty of water have you tried?
I have not tried any yet, to be honest. I just got it not too long ago, but as in doing my research on this, right? it was very important to me, being into the environmental aspect of things, is to make sure that this blocks against the stuff that really is bad, that gets you sick. And traveling to different countries and stuff, I've always been advised to watch water wherever you go. Make sure, I mean, my wife was in India not too long ago, and clean water is a real concern. So the nice thing about this is, it being it's 2-stage bottle, you fill up the container on the left so it doesn't cross contaminate, and then you press that clear part with the filter screwed on the bottom, press it down, and it filters it through, and it's not contaminated when you drink it out of the top. And those cartridges last enough for like 60 gallons. And if stored open out of the bag, sealed bag, it lasts for 3 years, and it's up to 10 years if it's stored in the bag. So I bought an extra filter just to keep on the shelf, and it's good for 10 years. So what I plan to do is just fill it up with regular water, and once I run out, then I could just replenish it wherever I have a water source, depending on where I'm hiking at. So
my mind always goes to experiments. If you or whoever wins this wants to progressively try nastier and nastier water sources.
Oh yeah, I'll do it next time it rains. I'll put it in my mud puddle in my front yard, and I'll go ahead and use it. I have strong confidence just doing the research in this and knowing things about water quality, because I work around water treatment and stuff like that. So I put my my mark of approval on it. So yeah, that should get us to the mark here. So let me pull up.
Don't forget to share the tab for the giveaway.
Yep, I'm going to do that now. So let me share my screen to the. Let's see now. Bear with me. This is the first time I've done this. So let's see. Share screen. We're doing the giveaway tool. So we can see, everybody can see this. So we got 54 entries in here. So if you haven't got in there, do it now. And we'll go ahead and pick the winner. So I'll hit draw, and it's going to go through all the people here. Clueless Enough is our winner. So at Clueless Enough, if you're on Discord, you can message me or Wick, or even Lowrents, and give us your address. What I'll do is I'll just drop ship it. I'll order it off of the website, or Amazon, wherever is easier, and ship it to you. If not, you can contact me. Let me put the banner up, or take this banner up since it's off, and I'll put my email up. Contact me at contact@oneclueshortofatreasure, and I will look for that in the next 3 minutes. And if not, we'll pick another winner. So let me know. And why don't Wick, you take it over a little bit while I look for the winner?
Well, they put an emoji in chat.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay, if they put emoji in chat, that's
Clueless Enough did a winking emoji at 10:32.
Great.
Right.
Okay, so get a hold of one of us with your address, and then it'll only be used. The address will only be used for the giveaway. I will not store it or share it or anything like that. Don't put your address in chat, of course. We don't want everybody to know it. And this is not sponsored by YouTube at all, or by Justin Posey, or anybody we're talking about, or anybody else on this panel. It's given by our show. So yeah, so that gets rid of all that legal stuff out of the way. So
do you want to do another round of Q&A?
Yeah, why don't you do another round of Q&A here?
All right, this is the question for Cynthia. This was what I was asking if you're sticking around, and thank you for doing so. What do you think of the differences in the hardcover versus the ebook and audio? Is that eliminating Idaho and Utah? Didn't Finn do that or something similar? Questions on screen.
So yeah, early on, Finn eliminated both Idaho and Utah. I can't remember. It was one of the early years. I can't remember how far in. Regarding the differences between Justin's book if he means because the audio actually talks about the big hill and the speed bump being in Utah, but the hard book says it's Idaho. Justin already put that on his website. He addressed any differences in the audio book than the others, and that they are accidents. I mean, it's on Justin's website. You have to go get it. I paraphrased that, but Justin did address that. Was that the answer
Yeah,
that they
I
wanted?
think so. Well, that's the answer, right? All right. Next question. If double arcs is a boots on the ground spot, what level of confidence do you think you should have going into it? I have a 20% buffer baked in, but that's a lot of room for doubts. And this is for just anyone. And that's assuming you believe boots on the ground spot is indeed double arcs. You could quibble that in your answer if you want. I'll call on someone. Lowrents, you have something? Seems like you're pondering
I'm thinking about it. I mean, I'm trying to remember all of his responses to questions. I don't quite have the Jaggle committed to memory
Good
yet.
luck with that.
He's given some odd answers to questions about double arcs. I think he said there's a bit too much emphasis placed on them being physical arcs out in nature. Me personally, I think their signals being broadcast out. I don't know, Sturm. You have to be pretty confident in that fourth stanza because that's where you need to be boots on the ground, right? You definitely need to be boots on the ground by the fourth stanza. So you probably have to have some level of confidence that you're looking for or detecting the right clues at that point in order to crack open your wallet to buy plane tickets.
I agree with that. For me, it's a high level of confidence, regardless if it's East Coast hunt or West Coast or wherever it is. I need to have a high level of confidence percentage-wise to be able to want to and merit going boots on the ground for myself. What about you, Cynthia? You're smirking over there.
No, I don't care one way or the other how confident I am or how good I think my now I can't say solve. I have to say hypothesis is. Jeez Louise.
Now that I know the lore of it, now I have to use it though. Yeah.
You're killing us former Fen searchers because that's the word that we know. But anyway, so I'm looking at the poem here, and Justin did say at which stanza does boots on the ground become absolutely required, and he said stanza 4, I guess, and that is double arcs on granite bold. So I guess my problem is I get the first 3 stanzas all the way to return her face to find a place, and I'm walking that. I'm boots on the ground for most of that too. And then my problem has been all last year, even though I have my ideas of what double arcs on granite bold will be, that is what I'm looking for when I return her face to find a place. That is what I'm actually looking for, boots on the ground. And do I know specifically what that is? No, I do not. I mean, I know for me what I am looking for, but
Eric, you got to answer to that? Our thoughts on that?
What, as far as my confidence level before I go boots on the ground?
Correct.
I'm out there with 1%. No.
Same.
Even tomorrow.
At first, I think we had a similar question before. Before I ever went boots on the ground, I set that bar pretty low to go out there because I wanted to get that experience under my belt to see how everything looked compared to what I thought it was going to look like and things like that. Because I found if I didn't go boots on the ground, then I'm not going to really have any confirmers of, we could sit here and armchair this all day long, but until you get out there and experience everything, it's going to be really hard to, I don't know, to me at least, to put something together in a very confident way. So I went out with maybe, I don't know, 25% when I went to North Carolina, maybe perceived a little higher, or hindsight, if you ask me after the fact, is probably even lower than that. But regardless, back to the point where I was talking to Cynthia about, is it was a wonderful time. It was probably, and we had just gotten back a few months ago from Italy and Germany. And I would put the experience right up there with how adventurous and beautiful everything was going out there on Appalachian Trail. We fell in love with it. And, but after that, I sort of shifted my thought process, and, the next place we went was a weekend trip. We flew out to Pennsylvania. It was out in Harrisburg. And I thought my confidence level was a lot higher at that point, maybe at the 50 to 60%, at least in my mind. And after going out there, I thought it was a wonderful, beautiful place as well, but probably not out there just because my solve got blown out of the water when I had John on a couple months later, saying that all you really need is a map. And most of my solve was based off the text, the short chapter and a half. So now my next one that's coming up in 40 some days is in New Hampshire, and I'm of a higher confidence level on that. I'll have to say, with without roostering or whatever, I would like to think it's in the 80% range. It's still a far cry, that 20% equals like miles on the ground. So, and anybody that has gone boots on the ground, you have to be within a couple 100 feet to have a 90 plus percent solve confidence level. So I think that's probably where my confidence level's been at before I go. And if I were to go out for any other ones, I wouldn't really call them a boots in the ground, as more as a reconnaissance trip, because that's really what I'm looking for. I would go out for a fen hunt with maybe a 30%, to check my recon to see if I'm in the right direction of where I think that I'm going. So I would say 30% on the low side now.
All right.
So I
Go
I do have a question for all you guys that go boots on the ground, and regarding this topic. So I just spoke about going searching for BTME in the Pioneers, and all I ever have, my last thing that I think I have, is return from face to find the place, and then I'm basically stumbling around looking for double arcs, and so I go, I'm not going to find it. So my expectations are so low, it doesn't disappoint me. Back in, I think it was October, I actually went to Lake Tahoe and did a search for John's PNF box. And before I went, I just thought I had it nailed. I thought I had it narrowed down. I was on the Tahoe Rim Trail, right where the Van Sickle meets it. I had the word search figured out, and I had the spot. And I will say that, and I searched there like 3 days, because it's like, it just has to be here. And it was some of the happiest searching I ever did, because I was so sure that I had it solved. And then it's like, well, I guess I didn't. And then I got over it. But it was a lot of fun. When you really do think that you might have it, it is fun. Or at least to me it was. More fun.
There's nothing more exhilarating to when you think you're onto something.
Yeah.
I agree.
That
was me this past weekend. Sorry, Cynthia, what was your question specifically? I'm sorry if I missed it.
No, that was it.
Oh, just in general. Okay, yeah. But I agree. I've been out a few boots on the grounds, and I haven't felt that confident at all. Just kind of, maybe to Eric's point, maybe more so recon, maybe more so just building experience. But this last weekend, I felt very confident for a multitude of reasons. So I legitimately thought I was in the right place with the right clues and looking for a box or a chest, as opposed to just being there, walking around, trying to get lucky, if you will, and find something.
Okay, we have another Another question in the star comment. We got, first of all, we have a super chat here. Thank you so much. If you find your boots on the ground leads to a slice of treasure you landed at Antlers Saloon, Wisdom, Montana.
Emma sings it, Eric.
Huh? Oh, Emma sings it. I don't.
Let's
You
check
won't
it.
hear that from me, no matter what size the super chat is. I am not a singer, but thank you for that.
I guess real quick question. Eric and his wife have been working through images. I believe you'll have some videos up on your channel for those. Go check those out. But question, any thoughts on someone's favorite image in TTI? I'm assuming they're saying image and not necessarily like the picture.
Yeah, so what that question is referring
illustration.
Yeah, what that question is referring to is Laura and I started our series with examining all the pictures from the different chapters. Now we started that with intent to do it every week, but because of what's been going on lately, getting the house ready to move and stuff. My apologies, I haven't gotten those out. As we only had one of them out, and those will begin back on track next week, I promise. But we haven't forgot about it. It's just there's so much chaos, with starting a new job last week. My focus was 100% at work, so I can get onboarded and stuff, and get to meet the team, and because that does pay for my bills, not this channel. So, but do I have a favorite picture? I believe the question was.
Yeah, let's just do picture or illustration, whatever.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, favorite in the sense of I think I know where the clue is, or favorite just in general. I guess that would be maybe a clarifier on that, because I have favorite ones I enjoy looking at because they're really neat. I like the magnifying glass. I always said if I found that magnifying glass, I would use that every day. I would be like walking around the house with this $40,000 magnifying glass, checking things out, burning ants with it. I don't know, doing weird stuff. Or if I had the jelly glass, I would be eating my Ben and Jerry's out of it while watching Golden Greed and watching Cynthia on there. I'd be like, "You go, girl." Eating my my ice cream out of the George Washington jelly glass.
I like the Amelia Earnhardt illustrations myself.
Yeah,
Cool.
I saw when I was in Vegas at TreasureCon. I went to it was in Caesars. There was a memorabilia shop, and they had a big collage of pictures of Amelia Earhart on there. Nice. And if it wasn't like $8,000, I would have bought it. I was like, I don't think so. I did offer to mention his show on the channel if you'd give me a deal, but I don't think we could have seen eye to eye on the deal. So that didn't happen.
My Southern flair just came through and I said Earnhardt instead of Earhart. My apologies. One last question.
Slip there, Wick, right?
One last question for this round. I'll show it. Anyone put the thrill of the chase to test, or can you after the fact? I mean, I would say that was documented in the series Golden Greed, right? For the most part. I think if you saw, I guess we can say saw at this point for Finn. I think a few of those were public, and also obviously in the series for Golden Greed. So I mean, it depends on what you think the solve is, right? If it's one of the ones that's been publicized and documented, sure, you can go recreate it and step through the clues on your own. But that's just my take on it. I guess Cynthia is a good question for you. I mean, you did go back and redo it, and right, you did go find the spot, Justin. It's in the Golden Greed series.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think
I've been there. I go there on the anniversary usually.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
His, I think I guess I was there on the anniversary, I was there for his birthday this past year, and then I've gone there already the anniversary of his passing away. So I've been there multiple times. One of the things that not that I feel responsible for the spot, but I do want to make sure it's not that people aren't making it into a shrine, that is being respected and kept clean. Well, with the exception, someone had left a sage bundle. I think that's what you call it, that was there. And so that seemed pretty respectful, and that's not going to harm any animals. But I just want to make sure people aren't leaving beads or stuff that the little animals can eat and get sick on. So, and
Yeah.
it's so far it's always been clean.
Has that particular spot gotten a higher level of attention from rangers?
Oh, well, yeah. In fact, one of my videos, I actually, when I was there, I was talking to one lady ranger and then a pickup truck of another ranger and his new guy. They stopped by and I went to say hello and he rolled the window down. I have this in a video. He rolled the window down and I said hello to the ranger and he said, "Have I arrested you before? You look familiar." And I said, "Not yet." And then as soon as I said Netflix, he said, "Now I know who you are." And so he was so nice to me. And I thought he might be mean, but no, it's just the opposite. And actually, I got them all to go down to Fen Rock and I took a picture of the Yellowstone National Park Rangers at Fen Rock. So it was cool. And they were very, very nice. I was shocked.
The other day, my wife and I went out for a hike up in the Sierras out here in California. And taking my backpack out of the back of the truck, my bear spray snagged on my seat. Like blasted me right in the arm. And so I got a little taste for your experience getting bear sprayed. My wife had gotten out of the truck on the other side, and I was having a coughing fit. She's like, "What is going on?" I said, I just bear sprayed myself. Took a while to get the smell out of the truck.
Oh, that similarly happened to Kobe, but he bear sprayed his mattress, I believe, in his trailer.
Oh my gosh.
So Theo Seeksy, thank you for the super chat. It was up here. Thank you for that. Wick, do you want to put that question back up for Cynthia? That was from K-Pro.
Yeah, and then we'll do we have one more question after that, but I think we'll save that for later. So have you ever been so confident but couldn't get to the spot safely and had, I guess I'm assuming, 2 turn back? What were those feelings, specifically for Cynthia, but also others? So go ahead, Cynthia.
Well, Christy, had you not made me turn around because you were so afraid, we would have gotten there. But I was good with it because I knew we could go back. And you went without me, so that's cool too. And only Christy knows what I'm talking about. and I'm kidding about this. I mean, it did happen, but we're teasing each other right now.
I mean, there's been a few times where I would say I haven't really done enough research or looked into a spot specifically enough where the terrain or the topography or the trail was either too narrow or too much of like a slope on either side or too much overbrush or thickness in the woods where I couldn't necessarily go to the place, go off trail or look anywhere if I wanted to. So I would say, yeah, there's definitely been some instances for me where I've unfortunately couldn't get to a spot and didn't realize it until I was in the moment.
Thank you, Tango Mango 26, for the $10 super chat. I haven't ran into that problem yet, fortunately, only because I've only been searching for one box, which that I'm ashamed to say I've only been searching for one because I really should have been searching for more. But my like I said before, my previous job, I really was tight on time off, so the only time I could get out was a short weekend, and I basically used those times to either drive 10 hours on a Friday and come back on a Sunday or fly out or something. So hopefully now I'm a little more flexible. I could drive out somewhere on a weekend and rent out an Airbnb for a week or something and be able to go boots on the ground after work and do some more. So hopefully I'll be able to do that soon. So, but I have not ran into any issues of things being closed. Lawrence, how about you?
I don't think I've had a safety close call turn me away. I was thinking back to my first ever boots on the ground for Justin's. There was a Bridal Veil Falls, and there was 2 really big double arcs that I could see on Google Maps. And when I got out to the spot, it's a 300-foot tall cliff is what that double arc was. So it's like, oh, I'm not going to be climbing up on that, So that was, my version of that. Not necessarily a safety thing, just a no. That's not what it looked like on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Well-
Real quick, thanks, Chad Bird, for the super chat. Hey, hey, crew. I hope everyone's having a good night. Great night. Cheers all, and good luck on TTI hunt this season. Be safe out there. Yes, safety is the key on this.
Speaking of
And
safety, oh, go ahead, Cynthia. Go ahead.
I just wanted to comment more on what Christy asked me. So it was the road. So we were on a dirt road, and it was really to get to our search location to go boots on the ground. And it started off the first, I can't remember how many miles. It was a lot, but the gravel road was pretty good. And then we got to the point when we got closer to the actual boots on the ground spot. Not only did the Forest Service road get more narrow, but because this was in the Lake Tahoe area, the snow was starting to melt. And then during the day, it would run across the road and then it would freeze. So I got to a section where it got icy. I mean, it's narrow. You have trees on one side and it's a bit of a drop off on the other side, and it was icy. And I told her, it's like, no, I won't drive this. We'll come back another time. So we did turn around.
Speaking of safety, this is, I shared that everybody's probably seen this across all the social media. If you're on it, shared it on our YouTube. It's on all Discords. Everybody's shared it, but there was a missing searcher, Nate Anderson. If anybody knows of his whereabouts, please reach out. Beth Anderson is, I believe, the mother that initially shared this. You can contact there. I think there's a missing persons. I don't know if it's on this one or not, but they were also seen at Seeker Summit not too long ago, and I believe on Kalazar's they have some more information on theirs, and that's one I just recently saw not too long ago. So if anybody knows the whereabouts, or please contact that person. So
That's it for the questions or things to highlight.
well, I did add one thing to add to that as far as being safe, and what Lowrents, what he said sort of sparked my interest, because where I'm looking at for the Appalachian Footpath Box is in New Hampshire, and it is one of the harder areas to navigate through there based on the inclines and the rocky areas and stuff. And one of my areas I was looking at to get to that area conventionally through the Appalachian Trail. Now there's side trails to get you to that area as well. It meets the 3-mile criteria from the road, but you have to go up over a 40% incline at one point, which did have me rethink that area. I don't think John would have had somebody go up something that treacherous, and I call it treacherous because I did look up on YouTube people through hiking that videoed it, and there is no way you're going to get me to climb that steep of a rock formation with a huge 2,000-3,000 foot drop off. But there is other ways of getting there after I searched more on my paper map. So that was something to think about when you are researching your area before you go. I do often YouTube different POV hikes through different trails to get a better idea before you go on boots on the ground. Or if you're good at reading topographical map, you should be able to figure that out as well. Right. But something to keep a thought of on that. So, Wick, you said there was one more question.
Nope, I did not. I don't think I did. If I did, I apologize. No, we're good on questions for now.
Okay, and just to remind the winner, clueless enough to send me an email with your information. You did already verify that you were on here when we pulled it. So as soon as you get me your information, I will put my email up again in case, if you are still on here, is to contact me, contact@oneclueshortoftreasure.com. Sorry for a very long typing of that out there. But that's didn't think of that before I came up with an email. Anyway, well, we're on the 2-hour mark. Oh yeah, is Eric using green screen? Yes, I am using a green screen, actually. Thank you for checking that. I have it well lit behind me, so you can't see the little halo around me. Yes, I am using a green screen on that. Because I'm not in my normal office, I've changed my office to my basement because I'm showing my house once I get it up for sale, and I want to use that room as a usable room, not Eric's YouTube studio. So soon, once we move it, I'll have a whole new getup. But until then, you'll see pictures behind me. So anyway, we're at our 2-hour mark. First of all, I want to thank Cynthia for hopping on and joining us. I'm very happy to have you on. And Matthew Hobbies, if you're watching at home, thank you for hopping on. And like I said, there's some few other people that we have links that we sent out for that may pop in from time to time on the video. And I encourage that. And as we go through this new experiment, I will be reaching out to other people as well to have them come on and possibly for other more themed live streams. And again, Wick, thanks for coming on, and Lawrence for not being abducted by aliens or finding a box and ghosting us as last week. I do understand things pop up. So yeah, thanks everybody for hopping on, and we will see everybody next Sunday. Have a great, safe week, and hope you find Treasure Box soon. So thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone. Thanks, Cynthia.